the Young Turks mentors.
Ravi Gururaj. There are too many ways to describe him. I think the best way to describe him is that his passion is entrepreneurship. He's an evangelist of startups in the truest sense. And this evening would not have been possible without his support and without the support of NASSCOM 10,000 startups. I'm going to ask him to come up and conclude this session for us today.
Thank you, Saina. Thank you, Shireen. 10,000 Startups is always delighted to support you in the program, and thank you for coming to Bangalore. So today what I thought I'd do is I'd share with you some examples of things I've seen outside of software that inspire me, okay? Rather than talk about my own experience, anything, we'll just share with you 5 different examples that really inspire me. So let's just go to the first one. It's frugal and mundane. A couple of examples here. One is, take a look at this. This is the Arvind Eye Clinic. And this is a clinic that has figured out how to do that many cataract operations. All those people in line there are not there to visit somebody in the hospital. They're actually there to get a cataract operation today. That's the scale at which they operate. Look at the number of beds that are being operated on concurrently. The doctor goes from one to the next and performs that. It's very inspiring for me because, you know, when we build software especially and when we build, you know, technology products, we have our challenges, but, you know, they figured out how to operate on human beings really fast, efficiently, and the results they produce are amazing at a price point that is incredible, okay? So, you know, this is one of the things about frugal innovation. You know, it's not an excuse to say my consumer can't pay. I am in a harsh environment. I have a low-skilled consumer, somebody who cannot understand maybe my product. Those aren't good excuses. People are finding solutions for that, right? With their skill gaps and all of that. Let's take a look at the eureka moments. Sometimes you might have this. So in Korea, a lot of the highways are one lane each way. And lots of accidents happened. And for decades, they were trying to figure out how to solve this problem. They tried all kinds of rules. They tried one-ways. They would have all kinds of things, and still people would have accidents because Korea is heavy on manufacturing. There are a lot of trucks that take goods from the factories to the ports. And when these trucks are on the road, the car drivers behind the trucks get frustrated, and they want to overtake. And in the moment when they peak, they get hit. And that's a huge accident. And there's no easy solution to that. Because finally, you know, when you're on that road, regardless of how often you tell somebody, don't do this because you might get hurt, they will do it because they're so frustrated, want to get to work, whatever. So more recently, Samsung came out with this idea, and this is like an everyday thing, right? They're taking 4 LCDs, and they're strapping it to the back of their trucks. And there's a camera in the front of the truck, so essentially the driver behind can actually look at what's ahead. And they can make the right move when they want to overtake. Now, very simple solution, and it's being adopted in tens of thousands of trucks now in Korea. Now, obviously, Samsung has an interest because they have the LCDs, but nevertheless, a simple solution to something that's vexed them for a long time. Second example, thinking modular. As you know, in this complex world, we have to start thinking modular. Here's something that Google is doing. It's Project Ara. And this is, you know, the smartphone redefined, where they're trying to build it from scratch as components that can be put together. And it's a very interesting, you know, thought process, right? All our smartphones are monoliths right now. They're just, you know, you buy the thing, and you dispose of it at the end, and you're done. Whereas here, they're trying to build it as components. And this is what we as entrepreneurs have to do. You cannot build everything yourself. You have to rely on, you know, being able to plug into other things, being able to put things together quickly as Lego blocks. And you have to build your company in such a way that you can throw away parts of it and upgrade parts of it without everything else breaking, right? So great inspiration here. Example of somebody trying to do this with something that every one of us carries in our hands every day, right? So example number 3, let me give you, I was, you know, about to make a trip to the US. My iPhone had broken down. I called the Apple store and I said, you know, can you fix this now? They said, no, we don't have the part, we can't fix it. I then go to Google, where, you know, search for something, and I find this guy in Koramangala. And I go across to him, And, in about half an hour, he had the phone fixed. And he had it fixed so efficiently. As soon as I arrived there, he just asked me what the problem was. He diagnosed it. Even before he'd opened the phone, he told me what the amount would be. And he said it would be a brand new part. It was better than what Apple could do for me, right? And, he had the price list. He had everything for me. So then I said, who runs this place? I'm intrigued by what you're doing. Who runs this place? And he says, I do. I own this place. So there he is. And, he's just running these 3 stores. And guess what he does? His business model is unique. He buys brand new Apple products. He takes them apart into their parts. And then he resells each part for 3x what Apple charges for the product. So he's actually a guy here in Koromangala, and he's got 4 or 5 stores. He makes more profit on an Apple product than Apple does. Okay? It's unbelievable, because Apple is the most valuable company on the planet. It's probably the first company that might cross the $1 trillion mark. And if anybody knows anything about Apple, they know that they make huge margins. And here's somebody who's just thought through the business model. And, I said, that's it's a small part. It's a lot of money. I said, and there were others that came in. And he said, yeah, you can go to SB Road and you can get some old part, but I sell you brand new parts. And I guarantee you these parts are brand new, right? Because that's my business model. And, just thinking out of the box again, right? How he's innovated there in the business model. So there's a lot to be learned there. Example 4, thinking audacious. So in China, they had this bullet train tracks, 7 of them. And they wanted to build a bridge across these. But these tracks connect 2 of the biggest cities in China. And the project manager was told, you cannot stop the trains for even a second. And you need to build this bridge. So here's the bridge after it was built. But let's take a look at what they did. So you were told, as a project manager, you could not interrupt these trains for even a second. So they built the bridge on the side, and then they swiveled it into place. 17,000 tons. It was swiveled into place in 29 minutes. And you can see the swivel happening, and the bullet trains are flying through at 450 kilometers an hour. No, the train drivers were not told this was happening. There's this huge monster construction that's swiveling across these tracks. And, for me, it is audacious, it's precise, it's fast. Just take a look at that bridge. You see the lights, they're going out to infinity practically. It's tarred right up to the bridge. The ramps are ready. They tarred this bridge in 2 days, and traffic was going across it. And that was how precise and how confident the rest of the team was, right? So for me, it calls out, obviously it's a very audacious project. Probably I can't assess the risk factor there, but it just goes to show that you can find a solution for almost everything, right? And great teamwork. It wasn't like the team that was building the bridge said, why don't you do the swivel first and then we'll see if it works and then we'll build the rest of the stuff, right? They did their bit of the project. Now, one last thing, example number 5 that I'm inspired by, and this is something all of us know about. But, one of the areas where across Indian startups, we need to up the level dramatically is in design, in how we think about design, right? And I think some are doing it, and, others will have to catch up, right? But let me walk you through something that's, agile, fast, beautiful, very well designed. It's the Ferrari 458 Italia. So let's look at its specs. It's a fast car. It seats 2. It goes about 300 kilometers in a tank of gas. And then we take a look at, I'm sure most of you now recognize this as a Tesla. But, let me dive a little bit deeper, because we always take the Tesla as a good car, but I don't think we appreciate what the delta was and how much is common with the regular or old car, right? And how dramatic it is and how much design thinking went into it. Take a look at its specs. It does 0 to 100, in the same, almost the same. I bet you couldn't tell the difference between 5.6 and 4.2 if you sat in the car. It's very comfortable as a sedan, right? It basically goes almost the same distance, if not more, on a full battery charge. That's what it costs. So you get dramatic performance, you get an awesome experience, and let's take a look at the experience. It's a full sedan, right? They rethought everything. When I talked to the Tesla folks, they said, we didn't have to put a steering wheel, we didn't have to put a brake, we didn't have to put an accelerator, but we did that because that's the experience everybody knows. So even though this car is dramatically different, when you sat in it, you wouldn't have to rethink all of that, right? It wouldn't be a Formula One experience where you had a button to press for everything, but you could just drive it on day one. The whole dashboard is digital, right? That's great. There's a nice size boot, and guess what? There's a boot on the front too. So you really got to dive in deep. Where the hell is the car, right? I mean, you've got boots on both sides. This is an SUV class in terms of luggage capacity, right? There's a lovely sunroof where you can turn the tint up and down, so you won't have any problem with Bangalore police. You know, they say you can't have your tinted cars. And that's the car. So, you know, you've got to take a look at what the car is. Where's the engine? It's between those two back wheels. You can't even see it. Where's the fuel tank? It's between the two wheels. I mean, that's a car redefined. That's why they're able to put two boots. They're able to do all kinds of funky stuff because somebody sat down and completely repopped the car, but at the same time, they gave you exactly the same experience you expect in today's car. So anybody can drive that car, any one of us, you know, and because even though it's so fundamentally different. So, you know, I hope, you know, you guys think different and shock everybody because that's what, you know, great entrepreneurs do. And that's the opportunity, really. I mean, you know, every one of us, I hope, can think way, way different and challenge ourselves to be audacious in our visions, right? So thank you. Thank you, Shireen. And, you know, we hope you're back in Bangalore often.
Well, we hope so too. But Ravi, I want to take this opportunity to express our deepest gratitude to you. You've always been a big support for us here at Young Turks. You've been a friend of the show. And there hasn't been an occasion when we've reached out to Ravi and he's ever turned us down. He's been with us in Delhi. He's been with us here in Bangalore. He's been at the Young Turks book launch. And our deepest and most sincere gratitude for always being there for the Young Turks family. Thank you very much. And I think Srivatsa Krishna said it well, the Bahubali of startups. So ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Ravi Gururaj.
The Young Turks Mentors